Julian was laughing. He had just watched his younger sister, Elena, choose a dusty old mansion over a $10 million fortune. He thought she was a sentimental fool. He had no idea that in that moment, he hadn't just lost a house. He had been perfectly checkmated by a ghost. This is the revenge gambit. It began with the death of their father, a wealthy and eccentric patriarch who loved two things: his children and intricate puzzles. Julian was the golden son, a ruthless businessman who mirrored his father's ambition but lacked his heart. Elena was the quiet one, an archivist who cherished the family's history, but was always seen as the less successful sibling. The day the will was read, the entire family gathered. The lawyer's words were cold and clear. The father's entire fortune, the company, the stocks, everything went to his brilliant son, Julian. To Elena, he left a single item: an old, intricately carved wooden puzzle box with a cryptic note attached. "My dear girl, your inheritance is inside, if you are clever enough to find it." The room filled with pity and quiet scorn. Julian smirked, taking possession of his empire, and in the following weeks, he cut his penniless sister off completely. Elena was left alone, with nothing but a seemingly worthless wooden box. But the box wasn't worthless. It was a test, her father's final gambit. For months, Elena worked on it, not with force, but with memory. She realized the puzzle's mechanisms didn't respond to touch, but to knowledge. A dial that only turned when set to their mother's birthday. A hidden latch that only opened when a melody from her father's favorite song was tapped on its lid. It was a lock that only the heart of the family could open. Finally, with a soft click, it opened. Inside, there was no gold, no jewels, just a single antique key and another riddle. A riddle that led her to a dusty, forgotten safe deposit box at the city's oldest bank. Inside that box lay the truth. A second, legally binding will. The first, will reading, had been a sham, a test designed by her father to reveal his children's true character. This new will was his real, last testament, and it was a bombshell. It stated that because Julian had proven his greed and his lack of care for his sister, the entire $10 million fortune was now to be inherited by Elena. But this is where the story gets interesting. The will had one final, brutal condition: a masterstroke of psychological warfare from beyond the grave. Before Elena could inherit, she was required to present Julian with one last choice. She had to offer him a deal. He could either keep the grand family estate, the house and all its lands, and she would take the liquid fortune, or he could have the entire $10 million fortune, and she would keep the worthless old house. The trap was set. Julian was summoned to the lawyer's office. When presented with the choice, his eyes lit up with greed. An old house meant taxes, upkeep, liabilities. $10 million in cash meant power, freedom, and new investments. He saw it as a choice between a memory and a future. He barely let the lawyer finish the sentence. "I'll take the money," he declared, signing the papers with a flourish, barely containing his laughter at his sister's sentimental, foolish choice. As the ink dried, the lawyer cleared his throat and read the final, sealed addendum to the will. An addendum that was only to be read after Julian had made his choice. It revealed their father's true final act. For the past 5 years, he had been in secret negotiations with a massive tech corporation. They wanted to build their new headquarters, and the one piece of land they desired above all others was the sprawling, perfectly located Anarian family estate. The deal had been finalized a month before his death. The land, which Julian had just signed away for $10 million, had been sold for $120 million. The room fell silent. Julian's face, once triumphant, turned to a mask of horror. He had been so focused on the cash in front of him that he never thought to ask what the land itself was worth. His father knew him perfectly. He knew Julian's greed would make him choose the smaller, faster prize. Elena didn't take her brother's money. Her father's Gambit had given her something far more valuable: justice. It was a reminder that the greatest inheritance isn't what's written in a bank account, but what's written in a person's character. And the most inescapable trap is always the one you build for yourself.